Hello. All right. Getting started. Beep boop beep. Helps if I have the program I'm going to be working with open. Fun fact. So, last time we left off with, well, let's do this. So, had some activities getting created. Got a little bit of a description, some data points, interesting stuff. We had a list command going. And we had create working. However, this is all happening in this test channel, and I feel like just from, again, using LFG channels and things like that and bots in general, more often than not, bots end up kind of segregated in servers, and they end up being put off to the side because they basically spam whatever channel they're in. So I think with this bot, I want to take a different approach. And so like here, like you see in these commands, if I just like copy paste this command, what ends up happening is, so I do that, and then the bot should spin up if I understand how bots work. Bot is not oh, well, helps if I'm actually running the bot, you know, amongst other things. There we go. Duh. Okay, but now if I was to run this command, bang, so I said something, the bot said something, and then if I wanted to double check and like verify the bot is doing what it was supposed to be doing, oh, now it's, so basically for everything that actually anybody tries to do in the server that's interacting directly with the bot, there's essentially two messages. There's always a ping and always a pong. And so it becomes unreadable. Obviously you get what you know, want done, that's why the bot's there. But yeah, I feel like this could be possibly improved on by using like a conversational DM exchange. So for example, what I'm kind of thinking, maybe not this read, but specifically for creating like this, doing this activity new, where in my head, I essentially see this message as filling out a form similar to how you would in a website. So like, for example, if you were to, I don't know, sign up for a service, you know, you have your name, your email, password, birthday, whatever. So you would have those things listed out in the page. I see a lot of bots that do this, where it's just a single line and you're expected to kind of remember the syntax, basically like a command line prompt. However, I think there's a lot of potential to change that, in that whenever users are filling out forms to interact with the bot, I have an idea that maybe trying to do those forms over DMs where you can kind of chat with the bot, like a chat bot, it might improve some of the experience of, say, not maybe potentially not having to segregate bots, because you would, at least from whichever server you're in, I guess that's the kind of the stipulation with this, is that you have to start the conversation from the server that you want to interact with, and then the bot will have to have that knowledge and respond to that in your DMs. So we're gonna see see how that goes. That's definitely, I think, number one goal for the day. And then if that doesn't or if I can't get all that done, or if I do get all that done, then I also would like to start setting up a persistence system, because personally, I found it very awkward last time trying to write in-memory storages in the application, because everything I work with uses a database. So more than likely, I will be setting that up today or the next stream. So let's go ahead and get started, I guess. Let's see. Well, we have this, we have activity. I do need to pull up some documentation real quick, if I can find my bookmarks. There we go. So let's see what's happening now. If I go to index, we warm everything up, log in, and then we have on message. We go through and parse through all the thingies. So what's happening now is we then call into the parser class, which is a key. It has its store of activities, which I want some white space. And also we need some comments in here. A little sloppy last time. I could do JS doc comments. Fat fingering really bad right now. But the thing with JS doc comments, I found personally, is I find them to be kind of awkward. Whoa. When using TypeScript along with JS doc blocks, because JS doc blocks, so if you're not aware, JS doc blocks would be, so for example, like we have create, and then I would write, you know, method description here, and then I would have param message as a type of message, and then I would say something noteworthy there. And this is how you would actually document the types for things, or at least that's the kind of old school way for documenting types in JavaScript, would be having JS doc blocks, so that you would, you know, give some other reader slash author an idea of types that should be or shouldn't be passed in or out of methods. However, we're using TypeScript, baby, so we do not need param message. We just need types. So rather than do that, I think I'm just going to use doc blocks and just write something about it. Oops. So this will have to change. This method will be very different later. So we have help. this one. This guy's interesting and probably one of my favorite methods so far, just because I really like JavaScript array methods. And so I guess to give you an idea what's happening, in the activity list parser, we're storing all activities that get created, which is this class, in an array on the parser. And so we obviously don't want to return JSON objects into Discord channels. So what this method does is, boy, I see you. This method does is take the activities, parse out their toString, which gives you a human readable format for the data, and then takes all of those and combines it down into one string, printing them out all on separate lines. Very much will not be how this command ends up working long term, but it does give us a way to interact and see that data back in the channel, so very important. Human consumption. I can't spell. Also, probably one of my favorite extensions, Code Spell Checker. Because if you know, you know. Alright, comments. Got some white space. Feeling much more organized. Well, actually, definitely want to do the class. .NET incoming? What? About to switch up to Azure. Temporarily, and then these guys aren't really used. Okay. And then what do I want to talk about with this guy? I don't know. First try. Activity command facilitator. Alright, well, commit that. Don't mind me. So, bruh, it's the best spell checker. Okay, so we got some cleanup. Code's a little bit more friendly. Now, what I want to change is this create, because now it does that. I actually want to send, because since I want to send DMs, but I want it to be kicked off from the channel, I kind of want a new method for start form. Okay. So what's interesting here, well, let's do the same check, because I actually want to use that command again, or that syntax, and yeah, see, so I don't actually need to do any of this currently. I'm going to leave it because I can do it when we get DMs, but for now, I actually want to Where though? She's around. Lurking. She's my number one lurker. So for now, I actually want to console log this data structure, and then I'll just pull this over here. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to like fill it up, make it interesting to look at. Because if you look at my last stream, like, oh shit, need to change that in here. Alright. Not only that, but if you look at like anybody else's Twitch overlay, like they have literally 10 million things on their overlay. So riding the wave, I guess. So can I see? You know, I'm console logging this, and I should be just going into the documentation. Yeah, I'm gonna go start digging in the documentation. Yoink. Alright. No, where did they go? So that was a message. What do you mean? Can I? Oh, there it is. Wrong spot. One second. Let me pop that out. There we go. Put that there. Oh yeah, there is a suggestion. No. Deleted. You're the puppeteer guy. I don't know how to do any of that. What I want, that's what I wanted. So on a message. So I should have. Oh, I do. Type text channel. Excuse me. So I have that. Where? Okay. It's called a guild. Oh, that's an odd name for that. So let's call the guild. Has an ID. Alright, well. Boy. Like, the moderator for that is gonna end up banning you. Like, it's not even gonna be me. I mean, quick wins, but ain't my fault. That WAP. Discord back up. There we go. Cool. Now, I wonder how do we actually send a DM? Can you send a DM from a bot? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've been DM'd by a bot. Ah. Okay. So, to set up Lamau. Oh, I thought it removed your message. Never mind, rip. Alright. I'm going to DM myself because apparently I'm the only one that talks to me. Besides this rando in chat. The users are cached. Okay, well. It's kind of odd. So I have to. Oh, good. I don't have the client here. I have the client here. So, where do I make the activity parser here? Could just pass the client into the constructor. Yeah, why not? What's the worst that can happen? I end up with one giant global object. Not like other applications do that, right? Client, I'm guessing they have a type definition. Sure do. Cool, now I can do that. So start form, I get the guild. Kind of want to notepad this really quick. So what we're going to do, I'll save first. Safe rather than sorry. So what's gonna happen is user messages bot and channel, bot DMs user to confirm request, user confirms, ask question, user responds, and then just to pseudocode that. So user messages the bot, starts the process, bot DMs the user to confirm the request, the user confirms, and then for every field that's in the quote-unquote form, the bot is asking a question and the user responds. And then again, bot messages user confirming form fields. And then from there, bruh. Like, it's an Amazon product. They'd kill my Twitch channel and they'd kill my AWS account. Says, yeah, so confirm. Oh, well. I think that works. So, first things first, user message is the bot. That be here. So now we have the message. Did the message have user ID? It does. What? Okay. Oh, it even has the user object. Okay. So I wonder, can I get... author? I can. Beautiful. So actually, I don't have to do all that jank stuff. I should be able to just do message.author.send. I'm just give it a go. Message.author.send. Cool. Let me grab Discord again. Oh. Uh-oh. Bye, baby. Love you too. Hello from the bot. Okay. That worked out really well. So, message.author.send. We are doing all right. Hello from Zibot. Send. So first order of business, user messages bot channel bot, DMs user to confirm request. I wonder what it looks like when I write the bot. Hello bot. Oh, should not be here. Dope. Oh, wow, alright. So... oh, okay, we're doing that after. Alright. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that, because that's unnecessary. Okay. So, DMs still are considered messages, so that complicates things. I was hoping there would be like a separate method, but there's definitely not. So, now, I need to have an additional check because, like for instance, I can go ping. Yep. Cool, so I need to have basically two chains of thought. Or two lines of thought in here where one is for server commands, one is for DMs. Alright. Easiest way to tell that is probably by checking for the guild property on the message. Because if I look here, so just because this is working like this. If I go ping, he goes pong. If I scroll back to the bottom of my console logs, null, perfect. So if message.guild, put a comment here. This is a server channel command. Oh, be more accurate. Oh, duh. DM. Cool. So then everything that was in here needs to go here. Not there. There. True. I doubt that though. But I will talk to you later. We got a DM. So let's do ping again. Shouldn't get a response, which we did not. As you can see, key. And we got a DM. Perfect. But, well, now that does complicate things. I think I'm going to create components. So normally I would think you wouldn't call them components. Well, I don't think. I know normally in backend you wouldn't call them components. It's definitely something I'm taking from React. Excuse me. However, I feel like it fits pretty well until I have a better understanding of the responsibilities within the application. I'm just generally going to call them that because JavaScript, we're doing sort of functional programming. So the goal is to kind of like atomically build up our application. So as our application becomes more and more granular, I'll have more and more components, and at that point I would basically be sorting them, within subfolders. So for now, server ts, and then file direct message.ts. We're going to, I can spell, which is going to have a constructor. Probably going to take the client. Means I need to add a client. This dot client. Oh, client is a client. The auto import, and then this dot client is client. Cool. Ping pong. Takes the message, which will be of type message. Let's just go ahead and copy that from here. That's interesting to note that even DMs are considered channels in their data structures. So a channel can belong to technically either the user or the guild. Cool. So when I have a little DM, just copy paste that guy into server. Except I want to call this server message. So we have direct messages and we have server messages. Well, so I said, as we build it, I think this needs to be called a new folder, handlers, boom, 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 and these two need to be moved out of there. So it's direct message, I said move, thank you. I handlers, direct message handler, server handler, and then we have a component which is the commands being ran. So even though, well, interestingly enough, this could be really good structure because we can have the activity list have, so like everything that's necessary for the activity to be done, including both server and DM commands in one file, and then instantiate the activity list file in both and call the logic that way. So we can share all of the logic for actually completing a set of events in one file and then have them called independently, where here server we're starting the form, and then direct message where we're finishing. So I like that quite a bit. Before I commit though, I do want to set it up. So rather than that happening, let's go ahead and do that. And I need to grab the import as well, except now it is there. And then I don't have the client. Yeah, I think I'm going to attach this as well. And I also don't know why VS Code does that, but it just breaks indentation sometime, like really badly. All right. Activity parser. Actually, let's call this activity list parser to be consistent. So we have activity list parser, we have ping pong. So we're going to create a server message outside of that, call it server handler is new. Well, we have to import first. So import capital server handler is from component handlers / server. You can actually do the same for DM. Direct message, and then pass in that client, and then do the same here for the direct message handler. Oh, lowercase d. Direct message handler. Don't call it. Oh, nope, it's just capital D. Okay, so what's happening here is now we are globally declaring our handlers, passing the client in, and now instead of doing this, I think we're going to need a function on the handlers that takes in the message and then figures out, so let's just call this parse. This will take the message. And then in here is where we'll have, void and void. This will take care of figuring out what function to call based on the message. That way we're not calling, like, here we do, you know, specifics. And once we get into the handler, well, actually, I guess the point is that in the index file, the goal should be never to handle specifics. This file should only be for delegation. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and pull this out, the switch case, and we're gonna stick that in there. And then instead of that, we want this dot, and we'll just delete all that stuff. Bang, drop-in replacement. So now we won't have any kind of mix-up between messages that are sent directly to the bot and messages that are sent via channel.parse and parse pass message. And then we'll do the same thing down here. However, we do it with the direct autocomplete direct message. Nope, not gonna help me. All right, cool. Then it also needs to have a parse, which is also going to take a message. Going to return a void. And it's just gonna auto call ping pong message. Cool, now we're back down to a reasonable size for our index file. We have our handlers and the client globally declared, passing the client into the handlers, load up the environment variables, start up the client, log into Discord, and then luckily, we only have two types of communication with the bot right now, so either it's going to be a server-based message in a text channel, or it's going to be a DM. So, one thing, actually, it's good to do. Well, how do I want to say that? Because one thing that could potentially happen that I don't see happening a whole lot is we could end up having users trying to directly message the bot with commands that should be aimed at the server. So I think one of the things I would like to do down the line is probably add like a property to here that essentially acts like a validator, where it's the list of commands that it will take and we'll accept, and we'll check that in parse, and then we'll also possibly try to check that in each other. So, well, at least in DMs. So we'll check for server messages in DMs, and we'll tell the user that, hey, you should send that to a server, because I can't do that unless I know where you are. Ensure that any message that should, well, let's do this. Reroute any warn user of any server commands sent to the bot through DMs, because that is invalid because we need to know what channel to create resources in. So yeah, I think that's good. Now we have a server handler, a DM handler, and an activity list. Looking mighty fine with some good old comments. Gonna delete that. Not very useful. Let's give this guy some white space. You know what I bet I don't have? Okay, don't I have prettier? I have prettier. Why? Oh, I bet. Oops. I do not have it set up to. Format on paste, format on save. Alright, well, it kind of does it. It just doesn't think white space is very important. I will have to change that off stream, because I would prefer white space. It's also the difficulty of working on a setup that you don't use very often. Well, as often, considering I do it 45 hours a week at a job. it's definitely not quite as tuned as my work setup is. Cool. So let me go ahead and commit that. And the handlers. Message type handlers. Bada bing, bada boom. That is some organization. Alright. Well. One second. Cool. Now, going to verify some of this. So if I was to ping, I got, oh, Jesus. What happened there? Oh, what is it doing? That's a lot of pongs. Let's not get the bot rate limited. What's happening there? What in the world? How is that a thing? All right. Well. What could be happening there? I mean, it's super straightforward that it's 1-to-1 in code. That's concerning. Let's try this again. Okay, didn't spam me when I started up, thank God. Really? Okay. Well, I don't even need to do that. I can just go here. Let's go ahead and get back in the docks. Message. So, I wonder if it has... So, it does have an ID. Also, I'm gonna try... Because, why not? Let's do risky things. Okay. So, obviously, I pinged it again. It ponged me a whole lot. Let's just do a ping in here and see if it does the same thing. Did not. Okay, well, that's also concerning that we're getting that again. Let me go back into the code. Okay. Alright, fun bug. So on DMs, for some reason, we're getting spammed with responses rather than, like we're seeing here, 1-to-1 with channel messages. So let's go see what the server's doing. Well, one thing to make this slightly more consistent. Considering we have a switch case here, we do not need that. Let's just do that. Okay, well here's one difference. So in parse, the ping is actually just calling directly message.channel.send. It's not calling this.pingpong. So I bet it's off an assumption if I call this.pingpong in the message, I'm going to actually see it do exactly what I'm seeing in the DMs. If it is running, question mark, pong. Oh. Okay, we have one pong. Do this again, pong. Okay, well, that's depressing. So why is it doing it in a DM, but not in... Alright, well, this is time for Google. Let me go ahead and kill the bot. God damn. Not doing a whole lot different. Okay, well, let's do some Googling. I'm definitely not the first one, and this is definitely, yep, discord.js. All message even, oh, even the one that, Huh. Alright, well, credit to this answer. I'm not logged in, otherwise I'd upvote. Alright, so... But I wonder why only in a DM does it... Okay. So, something that needs to happen here on message. So if message.guild, I guess the question is, what would be more clean? Is do I do, yeah, because this else needs that. So I'm gonna actually have to wrap this all in an if. If message.author.id. Excuse me. Oh, oops, I actually want to Control-Shift-T, by the way. Bot.user. So what are they? This also reminded me. I need to add some error handling. Because right now a lot of it is just calling and assuming that our programming networks and application stack just work perfectly every time, which is never the case. So after this, once I add this check, I'm going to take a second to stop and add some error handling, because it's pretty bad to not handle your errors. Some message to author.id. So I think this client is not equal client.id. Alright, what does the client have for properties? user. User declined is okay, so I guess that would make me think that it'd be client.user.id. So typically, I'm not a fan of doing nested ifs. I think it's really hard to read. But in this case, since either way, when we get a message, we want to respond, and we don't want to respond to it unless it has an author other than itself. It's justified. What we could do... Oh, actually, on self-check, could do this, and then instead of actually wrapping an if, we could do that. Well, actually, I'll put it in front. Self-check, and so now what we'll do is then we'll add an if, and we'll, I guess we can technically invert it, and that would be the most correct way. Because we're being well, no, actually, I don't like that. Because I don't even think we need that. There's no, before we didn't care at all. If it wasn't this one thing, then don't do it. So now... I mean, that will definitely take care of the reciprocal messages. Yeah, I guess that's fine. We definitely don't need an else because the else in this situation. So in both cases, we check for self-check. We want to make sure we're not responding to, the bot is not responding to itself. And then what's happening here is if message.guild server handler. And so if this doesn't pass, well, if one of these doesn't pass, it will come here. And then if it didn't pass this and it does pass this, that means that somebody else DM'd us. Essentially, it's just implied because we're anding it. And so obviously and means that both of these have to be true. And so in the case of that both of these are false, we would obviously fail here. It would short circuit, and we'd come here, we'd check here, but that would mean the bot is receiving a message that it sent, and we don't want to respond to those. So this should take care of the ping pong bug. Ping pong. Pong. So this also would be a really good unit test. You know what I might do to make this testable, even though we have function hoisting in JavaScript, just to make this testable down the road, I'm going to actually pull this whole function out of here. And we're going to go ahead and give this its type. Client.on message handler. I spelled that really wrong. There we go. Cool. So then I can export it so we can import it and test it later, because this is important. Because we definitely want to make sure that we oh, I don't even have a test folder yet. That's no bueno. Okay, we'll fill that up later. Actually, I think that would be a really good next stream, is we'll go ahead and start writing unit tests, because really I'm not a big fan of TDD test-driven development. I think it's obviously controversial. Everybody has an opinion about it because everybody has an opinion about everything. But I am not a fan of the idea that you need 100% code coverage, which I think is starting to become a more common idea in the software development sector. What I do think is important is particularly end-to-end tests. Obviously, we should write testing that ensures at least the baseline functionality for what we're shipping. And then I'm also a big proponent of unit tests for anything in your application that is unique to your problem domain. And then secondly, maybe integration tests. I'm not as big on those. I probably should be bigger because logically, I'm gonna put a better comment here. And then I think I'm gonna move this comment there and remove that. But integration tests, I feel like are more assumed. If you get to if your end-to-end tests work, typically you're already kind of covering your integrations, because I mean, for your end-to-end test work, you at least need to have like a minimal level of integrations working. So I find it pretty rare that I want to write integration tests because A, I have to mock up the inputs, B, I have to mock up the library that is being called into, or I have to genuinely pass it in, and then I have to mock up what it's supposed to be outputting to. So for example, like if it was, mocking, or we were testing formatting data for a database or a database call, then we would have to mock up the input to the database call, and then we'd also have to mock up the database that it's going to call into after it does its the library does its call. So I find them the most tedious tests to write are integrations, even though you would almost kind of think end tests would work or would be more tedious because you're testing the whole system. But I mean, even if you don't actually write the program to do end-to-end tests, I mean, you're going to be sitting here just like I am with my Discord bot, and this is essentially an end-to-end test. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm submitting data to the service, and I'm verifying its response. And so, from my understanding, an effective end-to-end test then would be doing this programmatically. That I would be... Oh, I think I have a phone call. Oh, nope, that would be the song. But basically programmatically mocking this behavior in that I sent something, I expect something back. So, yeah. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna do something real quick. Okay, let's get this committed. Fixing message handling bug. Cool. Q. Alright, I think we're doing good. So we now have server messages handled, we have DMs handled, we have fixed a bug. Oh, all right. Let's, I guess, go back to okay. All right. We have stuff happening. Let's go back to let's work on the DMs. So we have let's pull, well, we're gonna do DMs, but we need a to-do list. So far we have this guy, Dunzo. So now let's actually confirm that they would like to start an activity. So the point of this is that now in Discord, what we want to see happen is we want to see them submit activity new. Let's say, yeah, they wanna start a channel. And then just like that, the bot's gonna they're going to DM them. Next up is the user needs to confirm the request. So before we even do this, let's do a new method called confirm request. So, and then let's also go ahead and let me look at, so let's grab that line because that's useful. Const command, and then let's start up our switch case. Switch on command, and then if it's activity, going to go ahead and excuse me. Now, I don't think I want this to necessarily be a property of that. Well, let's just call it activity. Excuse me, activity handler. Which will take the message again and void, because I prefer to disseminate things as much as possible. Cool. I really need to stop saying cool. So a little bit out of frame. Let's see if we can't get some adjustment going on. Hello, it's me again. Ooh, looks like I missed a Sunstro, the infamous Sunstro. So we have the activity handler. Just go ahead and console.error. Find a handler. Damn, did not find a handler. Oh, well, I don't want to do that every time. So for now, the only thing we have is activity. Oh. Never mind. Oh, well, this is interesting. So how... You know what I can do? We could do something like a ticket where okay. So to give you an example of what I think I'm going to do. So the point of this is to confirm that they want to submit an activity, correct? So what we will do is we will create a snowflake, or like basically a ticket system, where when you hit the bot and you request to start an activity, you will basically be taking a ticket, and then it will DM you with the ticket that you have created. Is that new activity list parser? Yeah, so actually at this point I kind of need a data store that is outside of these guys. Oh, I am a dummy. That is not what we want to do. We want to do this. And then we'll need to call a method on there, which I think for now we can just maybe like do pong. Yep, there's a ping pong. Cool. Dot ping a pong. So I need to, okay, I guess go back to the explanation. So let me pull up the text to give you an idea. So we have, this is what the user sees, correct? So the user will message the bot DMs the user. But what I want to have happen here is the bot will create a ticket to ID the request. Bot DMs user with ticket and asks for message of maybe confirm. Maybe I'll do that. Confirm and ticket. Ticket ID. And that will be the confirmation. So the bot will DM the user with a message asking them to basically type this out. They will go ahead and do that, which will be that, and then we'll get into the forms. Okay, so how do we want to do this persistence? My gut says a database. So I could just do an in-memory thing again and be lazy and create a little ticket storage, just like we're doing with the activities. Yeah, because I will leave, well, oh, before we get too far, I'm gonna go ahead and write that to do. Write a simple ticket handler. We need some more error handling, which is what I mentioned last time, because like this, we have this. That guy there, that's hanging out with that. And then eventually, so once we actually get into like preparing for production, we will probably grab log4j.s, which is my favorite JavaScript TypeScript logger. And these console.errors will be replaced with logger.errors that will print out some really nice messages that are something like it's like the logger, the timestamp, and then the message. And then after that, it prints out the call stack. So then in your error logs or your application logs, you actually get a really nice, easy to parse message that contains all of the application errors and things like that. So there's one, that's two. Let's go ahead and jump over the DM handler. Yeah, that guy, honestly, I'm just gonna copy paste this out of here. One thing that we could do, so if you wanted to get really technical and let's say you had like a ton of message handlers, there is a generic shape so far that's happening here. And that we have a client attached to a class, and we have a parse and a ping pong method. Essentially, these are identical short of this method. We could write a class that this class extends and that attaches all this, and it would save us some lines of code and maintainability in these files. However, there's two of them. Well, actually, I'll probably do that anyways, but let's finish with the error handling. Let's go back to, so the other file it needs done is activity list. So what's interesting about this function is that unless the only way this could really error is if this was somehow undefined. However, we're attached to the class, which means it's not really possible. And we can also remove the console log because we don't need that. Okay. Oh, we have another ping pong that is not being. Oh. ADD kicking in. Forgot to paste that guy in. So now we have a handled ping pong, ping pong. Prefer to wrap this like that. So I could technically wrap this whole function body in a try catch. However, personally, I don't think it's necessary because, well, message can't be null. Content can't be null. It includes as a property string, so we don't really need any like undefined checks there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that. Error. Okay, now here we want to wrap all three of these because we could have an issue with the constructor possibly. Oops. There we go. Const activities, new activity, this activities.push. Yeah. New activity and error. Oh, here we go. We need another one. Oops. Then we're definitely committing once this is done. Console.error. I'm also trying to put the name of the method or the name of the command that's being sent in the error message. That way we can pretty easily trace back to the function that's being called. Okay. Here we're already checking to make sure the array isn't empty, because if you try to reduce an empty array, don't have issues. I feel like, I mean, obviously it's kind of probably not the most entertaining watching me write a bunch of error handling boilerplate. However, I feel like it's something that gets left out quite often in tutorials and things like that. And so you end up seeing these like really cool projects that, you know, can do a whole lot. However, they don't handle worst case scenarios. And so more often than not, you end up with programmers that also don't think to handle worst case scenarios because it wasn't, more or less a part of their training. So I prefer to include it so far as to show that this is a very important part of the project, because you never know if you know, networks will fail, or maybe your bot got disconnected from a channel. You know, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong, and so it's better to hedge for the fact that things will go wrong than hope that they don't. So especially in programming where things are so concrete once you write them. So yeah, that would be why I am doing this on stream, is because I think it's really important. Help request and the error. I think that's all of it because we have been through all 4 files. So we will commit that, just call it error handling. Because then the other thing that's important is eventually, well, normally so when you're doing web programming, and say if I was writing a web backend, rather than just doing console.error, I would do like request dot send, and then an object, and I would have an error, and then I would have this message in here, and I would actually send that back with the, oh my goodness, it's weird when it doesn't autocomplete. But I would actually send back an error response to the client that's doing the request, because in the web there's obviously UI in between the server. Well, there's the UI that's being displayed, there's the actual application that's, you know, managing, displaying all that, and then the managing application then has to communicate with the server. And so how you do that normally is with, you know, REST and HTTP. And so I would set up something like this to actually send back something to the user that something went wrong. But I'm unfamiliar with Discord and how I want to do that yet. That's something I will be researching a bit more, is how I want to deal with displaying errors to users, since rather than, you know, handing it off to the front end and the front end deciding, we only have text communication. So when I have an error, I need to figure out, well, off the top of my head, you know, is the channel still valid? Can I even get anything through? You know, was it a network request? Was it an error I threw? Because that is something I will be doing eventually. For example, with these, more than likely I'll write validator functions that will take these in. And so, for example, with like name, I would have a method like you know, validate name that takes a string, or takes name, which is a string. It'll turn a bool and say, you know, have a regex that'll be like, you know, regex.test name and all the stuffs. If I can hit period somewhere. There it is. And so it would just be excuse me, a function that then we would wrap this and that, and if this, you know, didn't come back positive, I'd probably throw an error in the creation of this function. That way that it would be easy to tell that the data was invalid. And so what ends up happening, so let's say you pass an invalid name, you know, I validated it, I throw an error on the creation. I need to have a good way of letting the user know that they sent invalid data, because that is something that can happen, is you have your application like boundary errors where maybe, you know, Discord didn't mess up, the network didn't mess up, but they maybe submitted bad data. We still want to let the user know that, hey, this was a user error, you should do this, this, and this about it. So while for now we're just boilerplate, you know, console.errors while we're developing, another thing that's going to go on the to-do list is learning how to properly submit application errors. So go ahead and save that. Nothing to commit. All right. So where are we at? All right, we need a ticket system. Let's go ahead and add a ticket class. constructor. Well, oops. No, we'll call it a string for now. Do that. Tickets, which will be an array of ticket. And we're gonna say this dot tickets is empty. Also, really quick, bracket. So for some reason that extension isn't working, which is really annoying because I kind of like it a lot. There it goes. All right. So we now have a ticket class, and we're gonna do a take ticket function. So let's also go ahead and attach a user from Discord. Yeah, let's attach the user that's making the request to it as well. Okay, so need to pass this user into the constructor of that. Call this dot user is user. This dot user is user. This dot ID will be some kind of a random string. I can probably look that up in a second. Okay, so take ticket. Yeah, I think at this point we will need to pass the message. Well, no, I don't think so. We can just pass the user for now. We'll try to just pass the user, and if that doesn't work out, then we'll pass the whole message. So const ticket is a new ticket. And we'll pass the user that we received there into that. We'll do this dot tickets dot push ticket. Oops. And then we actually do want to return out of this. I think I'm gonna return just the string of dot tickets dot push. And then return ticket.id. That error, and we will return empty string. That way, we'll just check for dot length when we call take ticket, because if we get an empty string, we can assume that something went wrong. And we will just prompt the user to probably do it again. Cool, so that is a ticket class. Let's go ahead, get into the index again. Come up to here. Default, let's, don't need a named import, just need ticket handler. Oops. Dot slash handler slash, oh nope, ticket, it's a component. Might want to move that or call it something else maybe. I think it's fine for now. I don't want to call everything handler, but perfect. Ooh, actually might only need this in the server handler. I don't think I need this in index. Yeah, because I just need it in start form. Because yeah, I'm going to change that. This actually needs to come. Didn't work like I wanted it to. Here, call ticket handler and ticket. Actually, what we can do is quick fix, import default, easy peasy. We now have a ticket handler on the activity list, which is what we want. Yeah, we can delete that to do because we have done that. We now have a ticket handler. So we're taking a ticket to get in line to create activities. So an activity, I could put it on the parser. Oh, I heard something outside. Oh, nope. I heard a cat. Yeah, out here being goofy. So, Mr. Baxter, what you doing? What I'm questioning now is if I want to put the ticket handler on the parser. I don't think I do because it does exist outside of it, and this is just an instance of it. So the activities themselves can have tickets, and then say if we had a separate set of applications, separate set of functions, what we could do is have a ticket handler in each of them for now. Okay, so current goal is right here. Bot DMs user with ticket and asks for message of confirm ticket. Cool. So let's go ahead and add a confirm method before this help. Let's go confirm, which will take a message. And from there, so we have start form, which is going to be a server message. I'm gonna add the comment. I'll put that in quotes to make that clear. Message received. Server channel. User to confirm request. Okay. Alright, so we want to make sure that includes new. From there, we're console logging for now. So what we want to do is we want to send I'm going to make this a template string so I can multi-line it and make this a little bit more readable because it's going to line break and it's going to look ugly. Hi, I heard you were looking to start a group. Before we start, can you reply to this message with confirm and then the ticket. Cool. So we need to call ticket ID, which is going to be ticket handler.takeTicket. And then we need to pass message.author. Start a group in message.guild.name. Before we start, can you reply to this message with confirm ticket ID? Hi, I heard you were looking to start a group in the server. Before we start, can you reply to this message with confirm? I might localize that because I don't want to limit us to solely English speakers, because there are lots of our friends out there that do not speak English or not speak English as a primary language, and I would like to I wonder if you can pick up. I'll have to look into that more. Another to do. Do right. Have to see if we can pick up on the message.author's preferred language or region, and then see if we can't match that to a JavaScript string localization parameter. That way we're not just sending English message, we can try and get them translated into their native language or their preferred language, or what is hopefully their preferred language. Cool, we are still running. Let's go ahead and grab Discord. Now, when we do activity new, I feel like I'm missing something, so I don't think this is gonna work. Ah, it did. Cool. Hi, I heard you were looking to start a group in Flow Lounge. Before we start, can you reply? Oh my goodness. Sorry. Before we start, can you reply to this message with confirm and then nothing? That's not good. What did we do wrong? So const ticket ID is take ticket. It's not asynchronous so far, so we don't have like a promise that we didn't await. And then also the message looks kind of jank. Let's go ahead and try that again, see if we can get better formatting. Oops. Pulling this back over. Hi, I heard you were looking to start a group in the Flow Lounge. Before we start, can you reply to this message with confirm blank? Why is ticket ID not there? Let's go ahead and console log. Aha, we have an error. So like I said, we need to check for the length. Oops. Forgot a para. Or paren. Alright. Trying this again. Let's go ahead, grab this. Yep. Alright, so we're calling take ticket, passing in a user. Let's get rid of some of these console logs for now, because we know what we're doing there. And let's go ahead and do this again. Why am I not getting anything back from take ticket? So user returns string. I'm not getting this. Return ticket.id. Some days, chat, some days we need a random string function. And because I am lazy, JavaScript random string. Preferably we would actually get, let's So what are we doing? So 36 line character. Well, let's go ahead and give him a star because we don't want to be inconsiderate. Let's go ahead and go back to our application. Oh my goodness, VS Code. And here, do that. That's odd. And then, yeah, so it's taking radix of 36. Yeah, well, let's see what we get out of it. Oh, actually, okay, let me see. I think the markdown for that is that. I'd like to have that on a separate line. Okay, another Google. I'd like to have it not as a code block, but block quote. Okay, I was right. That's yeah, let's grab Discord one more time. Maybe it's escaping it without formatting it. Yeah. Let's see if maybe a new line. Awesome. We now have a confirmation message. Woo-woo. Oh yeah, we're doing good. Yes, we are. All right. Let's go ahead. We now need to confirm. God, looks so ugly, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and commit that. Move the comment. Grab the ticket handler and start. Awesome. So now we have all this going. Now we need to confirm. Cool. This will be a DM, so we now have confirm request. So let's go ahead and add a new case. Confirm. All this dot confirm request with the message. Break. Don't need to run the default as well. Alright, so let's start with a try catch, so we don't have to go back and put in a bunch of try catches again. Error. Couldn't complete confirm request. I'm already just not going to put the request word in because it's in the name. Couldn't complete confirm request. Alright, now confirm. Well, let's say const ticket ID. Do we have? Ooh, we do not have. Oh, that's because that's the DM. So we're in the DMs. Oh, we in the DMs though. Oh, we don't want to call this dot. We want to call that dot. And we do not need a method. We'll just grab that out, pull that away. And then we need to go to activity list, and we just call it confirm. So let's go ahead and delete that. And then let's go to the activity list, and let's paste in what we had over there. Cool. I'm gonna lose my mind if I say cool one more time. Deleted the exiting bracket. Okay, we want to try. Let's just send a response. Actually, let's confirm the ticket. Which means we need to go through the ticket handler. Tickets array. So, how we're gonna do that for now is we're just gonna check and see if it exists. Actually, let's not do it there because that is not a responsibility of the activity handler. That is a validated or a responsibility of the ticket handler. So let's call it validate ticket. We'll take a ticket, which is a typo ticket, and return a bool. I can't spell. Ticket. Satisfy that type check. And so actually we're gonna get an ID, which is gonna be a string. You're gonna return a bool. Why is it bool yen? My bad. So take ticket ID. So we need to do this dot tickets dot sum. Actually, so I've seen Sunstro use some, but I'm actually gonna have to Google it. MDN sum. How does sum work? Test whether at least one element in the array passes the test implemented by the provider function. So I could do that. Okay, yeah, all right. So that works exactly how I thought it did. So what I can do is take ticket, return ticket.id is ticket ID. And does that return? Oh, actually, that returns a boolean, doesn't it? Returns a boolean. Cool. So nice one-liner. Return this .tickets.sum. So as long as there is a ticket that exists within this array that has the ID that we're passing into it, we'll get true. Otherwise, we're gonna get false. Is message.content.split on space, and we want the second member. And then we're gonna call this dot ticket handler dot validate ticket ID. I'm gonna wrap that on if because if they gave us a valid ticket, we want to that's a good ticket, boy. Otherwise, if there was no ticket, what ticket though? All right. Pull up Discord again. Well, actually, because we've been doing that, let's go ahead and do that again. Oh, we restarted. So let's create an activity. It's gonna message me with that. That's a good ticket. See that right there? That's a good ticket. It's like half Obama. All right, we had a good ticket. Let's go ahead and commit that. Form request. Awesome. We're now confirming requests. We are ready to start on fields. Okay. All right. Well, I am going to take a quick break. And I will be back.